Over the past 5 years, I have spent $19.8 million in Google Ads, driving $66.3 million in revenue at a 4.7 return on ad spend. The structures I'm about to go through literally apply if you're about to spend your first $100 in Google Ads, all the way up to brands that we manage right now that are spending $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 per month in Google Ads. The very first structure is our base structure. This is the most simple structure that we run. It's a Performance Max campaign and a branded search campaign. So a Performance Max campaign is going to cover all of your assets. Everything that you possibly could be serving on Google is going to be coupled into one single Performance Max campaign. So there's huge benefits of this, and there's also very important drawbacks that you need to know. But just to set the groundwork, you are going to be serving on search ads, shopping ads, YouTube, demand gen, and display. That is the 5 primary Google products that you could serve on. So you're going to achieve a really major halo effect using Performance Max. You want to make sure that Performance Max is driving about 80% of your total spend to shopping campaigns. First and foremost, make sure you're set up with the right goals. Don't have duplicative goals. You can see in this case, we have one single goal in our campaign specific goal settings. Really simple. We are not setting new customer acquisition for this specific strategy. Make sure your merchant center and shopping services are fully set up. These should be integrated through your Shopify apps or whatever service you're using. Make sure you have a data feed flowing in hourly, ideally every 15 minutes. Set your budget at least to the point where you could drive one purchase per day. That is absolutely at the bare minimum. This campaign specifically is in the case where it's going to drive somewhere around 10 plus purchases per day for this client. And these clients are driving around a 500% return on ad spend, or a 5x. In this case, we're pushing this one pretty hard. We're bidding for a target ROAS, which is what you're always going to want to do. Never set these for max conversions. If this is your very first time setting up a Performance Max campaign, do not set your return on ad spend. Just run this to max conversions. This is some of the more important stuff. Make sure your locations are set, and there's a secret setting in here. You have to open up your locations, go to location options, and do not choose the recommended option. Now, Google automatically presets presence or interest in. If you just read this by definition, people in or who have shown interest in your targeted locations. Let's just imagine that I am traveling overseas and I'm all of a sudden getting ads served for Europe. That does not make sense for me. We need to make sure that the people have the ability to purchase within that location. You absolutely should be setting presence, people in, or regularly in your targeted locations. Make sure you have UTM set up. You do not need to set these at this level, hence why mine is blank. These can be set up at the account level in your Google Ads. You want to make sure you could actually see your data long over time. And then finally, the brand exclusion. This is going to happen in the next strategy where I'm going to walk you through really the best way to get new customers engaged and acquiring new customers in your business today. The next piece is branded search. Branded search is meant to be a protection game to make sure that your competitors do not leech onto your branded terms. So for example, if you are Nike and I type in Nike right now, they dominate the search. I don't see any Adidas in here. I don't see Reebok in here. I don't see any other shoe company or even sportswear company. What you need to make sure you're doing in your business is you're not allowing your competitors to swoop in your shopping feed or in your top branded search placement. The way that we're going to do that is extremely simple. So the first thing you're going to want to do is set up a standard search campaign. Once you set up that standard search campaign, you need to select your keywords. The really most important part here is that your keyword match types are all exact match. And you can see even this one was paused down at this point, so we no longer use the phrase match here, but all of the time we're using exact match for our branded search. This is because we don't want to expand too far beyond our brand. We want to really stay nice and tight into the branded search that we're most focused on. What you can see here is because these are exact match and because our ads are very relevant, our quality scores are all 10 out of 10. We have 1 9 out of 10, but really everything else that's spending a lot of money is a 10 out of 10. We are setting up our goals as purchases. Make sure that's always set that way. Name your campaign properly. Customer acquisition should be bidding equally for new and existing customers because you are protecting your brand. Networks, you can select the search network, but do not select the display network. The most important part here is the bidding strategy. Set yourself up for a target impression share. This basically means you're going to show up in the first position. Once we do that, we are going to set a percentage that we want to set up at the top. Do not set this for 100%. Set this at maximum to 99%. We have 97%. We don't care about this brand losing 3% of our impression share. We're totally fine with that. But 97% of the time, we are showing up in the first position for our branded terms, and 3% of the time, our competitors get that spot. The reason we allow that little bit bit of 2-3% wiggle room is because that 3% costs so much more. In fact, it might inflate our results 20 or 30% by just trying to get 2 or 3% more impressions. The last piece here is your maximum CPC bid limit. Here's how I like to think about this. If you sell expensive products, $100, $300, $400, set your max CPC limit a little bit higher, $4, $5, $6. If you sell super cheap products, set your max CPC limit low, $2, $1. Really simple version of this is that if the max CPC limit is too high, you're going to have some strays out there where there's a keyword or a search term that just costs like $12. That's totally not worth it for you to bid on. That's the first structure. Now I'm going to hit you with an alternate to our base structure. In this campaign structure, we have a broken out performance max. So we have 2 performance max campaigns and a branded search campaign. And the only reason you should use this is if you have a lot of products and you clearly know what products drive the most value for you. If you're working as a shoe brand and you know that 10 of your 100 products drive 80% of your revenue, those 10 need to be siloed into its own campaign. So the classic 80-20 rule is what we need to apply here. The 80-20 rule essentially states that 80% of your results are coming from 20% of your products and that the other 80% of products are only driving 20% of your results. And that's why we want to set up a major lever in our performance max campaigns to have the top 20% of products in one campaign and the other 80% of products in another campaign. Once you start to break things out by what actually sells, Google's going to recognize that this campaign is a winner and it's going to allow you to scale that campaign literally 2, 3, 4 times over compared to just grouping everything together. This alternate structure is super important, especially if you have a big catalog. Now I'm going to hit you with the new customer structure. The new customer structure is a performance max campaign, a standard shopping campaign, and a branded search campaign. Before you just skip ahead here, I want to be super clear. This performance max campaign does not mean that it's just one performance max campaign. We could easily use the base structure alternate, which we have set up here, and flip in a standard shopping campaign. You can see here from the enabled campaigns that we have, which are the performance max, the brand, and the shopping campaign, which is the exact structure that we've highlighted in our new acquisition structure. You can clearly see here we spent $42,400 off of this. We've driven $234,000 in revenue. That's at a 5.5x return on ad spend. Conversion rate is all the way up to 2.32, 75 cents per click. We're literally spending $42,000 to drive $234,000. We started this strategy in August of 2023. We're still running it in June of 2024. These are just clicks that we have marked here. Obviously, we see some spikes in Q4, but generally speaking, this is not that big of a slowdown for the start of Q1. In your PMax campaign settings, scroll down to customer acquisition and select only bid for new customers. Do not select bid higher for new customers than existing customers. The verbiage on this is extremely confusing. This is extremely confusing, and it's going to be hard for you to actually understand if the campaign is effective or not. So we are just simply going to say only bid for new customers. Once we do that, we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom here, and we're going to go down to brand exclusions. So once you're in the brand exclusion settings, you will have an option here to add a new brand list. You're going to have to create a new brand list. So you can see new brand list right here. And once you create that new brand list, you're literally just going to enter your own branded terms. So if you're Nike, again, you're going to enter Nike, you're going to enter Jordan, you're going to enter Nike Dunks, all the different variations and ways that people say your brand, you want to enter it here. If you have a product name that's super strong, enter it here. It's going to completely eliminate any existing customer who's already purchased from you in the past, and it's going to eliminate anyone who's searching for terms that are your terms. This is going to make your performance max campaign completely focused on brand new, fresh acquisition. It's going to drive incremental results for your business. That's what we care about. The second piece to this is your shopping campaign. This is where things get very unique. So your shopping campaign is actually going to be set up without restrictions. Always, as usual, make sure your goals are set up properly. Your feed is firing. There are no settings that you need to tweak here. In your bidding, you are going to want to set this higher than your performance max campaign. The way that this is going to work is your performance max campaign is going to drive new customers, new results to you. Those results are going to cost you more money. It's going to be harder to acquire someone who's never heard about your brand. This shopping campaign, on the flip side, it's going to scoop up either existing customers or people who may have heard about you before. So we're going to set that target return on ad spend very high. We don't need to do too much work to get them over the line, and we want to make sure we're ultra profitable in this campaign. For this specific campaign, we're setting our target ROAS to 400%, and we're setting our budget quite low to only $100 per day here because it's just scooping up mostly branded terms. However, if you have a bigger brand, set this higher. We are are okay with the search network, but nothing else. And that is it. Super simple campaign to set up. You might want to set up some product breakdowns. You might not want to have all products in here. That's actually one and the final thing that we need to talk about. When you go to set up your products in this campaign, and you might have hundreds of products potentially, so you want to be very careful that you exclude certain products. What you don't want to happen is your bottom selling product to show up in front of customers that we're about to convert, and then they get confused because it's not the products that they thought you were known for. What we want to really focus on, again, is that 80-20 rule. What 20% of the products are driving 80% of the results, and that's what you're going to want to put in your standard shopping campaign. The very last piece of this is just that same branded search campaign. Target impression share, 95% plus impression share, medium to low, max CPC. This next structure is just the addition of non-branded search. While I have this here appended to our base structure, I want you to bear in mind that you could move this to any of your structures. You could add this anywhere you want. This is very, very applicable only if you're seeing your performance max campaign start to die down. Your PMax campaign naturally on its own is going to swoop up a lot of that non-branded search. That's its job. The normal non-brand search campaign is really just meant for you to hone in on specific keywords that you're interested in. So within your non-branded search campaign, the only thing I want you to focus on is your main keywords. What are the main product drivers for you? If again, we're using Nike, you should be targeting running shoes, basketball shoes, lifestyle shoes, white shoes, black shoes, red shoes, green shoes, blue shoes. We want to make sure you're hitting the most important keywords. The next piece is not just one match type per ad group. Every ad group should be mixed with both exact match and broad match. Forget phrase match, forget broad match modified. Those are in the past now. They do not work as well. So what I really want you to focus on is a mix of exact match keywords and then just a few broad match keywords. Those broad match keywords are really going to drive up the scale. We've seen them do significant work in the last 6 months, and I'd highly recommend it because that's what we're going to be doing with every single account that we manage throughout the rest of 2024. Let me get a drum roll for our number one structure. This structure is not for you if you're spending anywhere under $50,000 per month in Google Ads. This is going to be your performance max top 20%, your performance max bottom 80%, your standard shopping campaign, a branded search campaign, and a non-branded search campaign. I just want to remind you, you could have variations of this. You could expand and expand. This structure is not for you if you're spending anywhere under $50,000 per month in Google Ads. It is advanced. We are going to be firing new customer acquisition with our Performance Max. We're going to be allowing standard shopping to swoop up existing customers and drive net new customers just in the shopping feed. We're going to let branded search protect our brand without overspending our cash. And finally, we're going to use non-brand as an expansive tool to compete against our competitors and show up when we need to the most. So this number one structure, which is what we normally do for any brand that's spending over $50,000, needs to be implemented perfectly. So apply everything that I've walked through in the base structure, the alternate, the new customer structure, and then the addition of non-brand one at a time. And over time, you will get your brand to $50,000 plus in Google Ads, especially at the return on ad spend that you're looking for, which is absolutely the most important part. And it's why this structure is laid out this way. This is meant to be a stair-stepping process. No one just walks in on day one spending $200 a day and implements 5 different campaigns across hundreds of products. It doesn't work that way. Don't get ahead of yourself. If you want me and my team to implement this for you, go to themoonlighters.com to apply. If we're a fit, we'll find a way to work together. If not, keep working through these videos, keep scaling up your account. If you want to see this exact video as it pertains to our Facebook ad setup, click the link down in the description or the link over here. And what you're going to see is our full comprehensive structure that we use at the Moonlighters, the best way to acquire new customers using Facebook ads and boost up your halo effect that your brand needs today. Thank you all. I'll see you guys in the next one.